ولعنة الله على أعدائهم أجمعين. أما بعد، اللهم كن لوليك الحجة ابن الحسن صلواتك عليه وعلى آبائه في هذه الساعة وفي كل ساعة وليا وحافظا وقائدا وناصرا ودليلا وعينا حتى تسكنه أرضك طوعا وتمتعه فيها طويلا برحمتك يا أرحم الراحمين. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد. أما بعد، السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. All praise and glory belongs to Allah, the creator of this universe, the one who has honored two of his creations to submit to him with their power of reason and choice. The rest of his creations are going to submit to him whether they want to or they don't, whether they understand or they don't, whether they have reason or they don't, whether they have choice or they don't. If you can't hear me, then you should get closer to me. I can't speak any louder. Or you can change your mic or your batteries, I'm not sure. So,
it's coming on. No, it's coming.
In reality, the other creations of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala if you can recite aloud salawat. So the rest of the creations of Allah do not have the choice or the reason, but they are in submission to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. The two creations are men and jinn, that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given them the honor that they can submit to Allah with their choice and their power of reasoning. And this honor belongs to you and I. But in order for us to be able to recognize this honor, we have to have venues to be able to understand Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Okay? If we are not able to understand Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, then how are we going to choose to obey Him? If you don't have a reference point, how can you say that I'm going to worship? Right? One of the reasons why the Hindus and the other religions that have their idols made is that they say that we need to have something in front of us. If we are going to bow down, if we're going to worship, we need to see something. I cannot just do that in the air. So, because we are visual beings, we need to have something. So they made their idols, which is wrong, because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala or God cannot be an idol, cannot be something that you make out of wood and stone. But the idea that you cannot worship without actually seeing something that you are worshipping. When the person asked Imam alayhi salatu wasalam, have you seen Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? He said, if I haven't seen Him, how can I worship? And it is true. You have to be able to have a frame of reference, a point of reference, something that you can feel that it is the existence of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And then by choice and reason, you will be able to submit to that being. Right? So there is a very big part of that is missing. The other part is missing as far as the way we think of our own selves. Then the life that we live in this world, which is full of illusions and mirage, we are stuck in that. And then on the other side, we have this life that we're supposed to start after we die. Well, it is going to be forever. Whether we go through the grave and then we go through the barzakh, or we go through the day of judgment and then we go through sarat and then heaven or hell, it's something still we need to go through. So when you put all of these things together and we don't understand, and then you have a month of my Ramadhan. Right? You have Salah, you have Namaz, you have Quran, you have Amr bil Ma'ruf and Munkar, you have all of these things in religion. Do you think in order for us to be able to understand those things, we have to be able to understand those things that I just mentioned? No? Right? If I am worshipping Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and I can't see Him, how can I? I just have to assume. I have to assume, and this assumption has to be so strong that you call it faith. Right? I have to assume that He's watching me, He's hearing me, and that assumption has to go up to that level of conviction where you will call that as faith. You will call that as iman. And because of that, you will continue doing the worship of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. True? That's one being, one kind of a person. The other person is, they don't even have this zan, they don't even assume that they're going to meet Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And in Surah Baqarah, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says they don't even pray because they don't even doubt that they're going to meet Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Then you have those individuals who have no assumption of Allah, there is no conviction, there is nothing, but they know that there is fire and they don't want to burn in the fire, so they will worship. Or they like the taste of the fruits that they have and the drink that they drink, right? And the houses that they have and the takht that they sit down on, right? And the rivers that will flow under the trees of honey and milk, and so they like that, they see the trees, they see the takht, they see all of that, and they say, okay, I should worship Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala because He has said He's going to give that to me. I don't see Him, I haven't created my assumption to the point of conviction where I can feel His existence, none of that. I just want that. So depending on what kind of being you are, then the Quran is going to mean different, your fasting is going to mean different, your salah is going to mean different. In all of these people's worldview or the way they see the things, all of these things are going to look different, right? When you look at Quran, what do you see? You see leather and it's like very nice and shiny, right? It has pages, like you have pages from the book, right? It's got something written on it, some printer printed it. No? Some printer with ink printed it, right? And then it just has more pages, has nice design. It has Arabic written that, for example, we don't understand. Okay? But we read it. Okay? So most of us read it. Some of us still don't read it. But we read it. Why do we read it? Why do we read? When we don't understand, why do we read? Because we're going to be rewarded. And it's true. The person who recited the Quran today, alhamdulillah, may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala bless him and forgive his sins and so forth. And generally we have an audio person reciting the Quran. Right? Today we had a live person, alhamdulillah, may Allah bless him. But why do we read Quran when we can't understand it? Because we have been promised that you are going to be given reward for reading the Quran. True? And it's true. I looked at the Quran, I got reward. I held it in my hands, I got reward. Every word that I look at it, I'm getting reward. Every word that I'm going to read, I'm going to get reward. And as long as I'll hold it, as long as I look at it, as long as I'm reading, I'm getting reward. It's true. Each page of the Holy Quran has these words there that I don't understand, but I look at them and I get rewarded for it. Which is absolutely true. Why do you think Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala did that? Why do you think that He put so much reward for us to be able to read the Quran? These are all textbook answers. Come closer to Him, to understand all of this. No, it has to be personal to you. And the reward that He has given to us for reciting, and we consider is that there's a lot of reward, right? Because if you just look at the Quran, you read the words, each word that you read, amount of sawab that you get, we consider it to be so huge compared to what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has. That reward is what? Right? Do you know what I'm trying to say? No? Like for example, if you say Assalamu alaikum ya Aba Abdullah, you just said that, you get about the sawab of 90 mustahab, let's say Hajj. There's a lot, right? Alaikum assalam. No? It's a lot. I mean, what do you have to do to go for Hajj? You have to prepare so much, you have to do all of these things. And by just saying Assalamu alaikum ya Aba Abdullah, you're able to get the reward of those mustahab recommended Hajj, not the wajib ones. Right? We consider that big reward. Who's giving this reward to you? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. How much does He have? How much does He have? Okay, just put it in our perspective. If I have $1 trillion and I tell you to read the Quran, and I say to you, if you read the Quran, I'll give you $1,000. What would you think? Right? If you just say $1,000, you'd be like willing to read it, right? Oh, that's a lot of money. $1,000 is a lot of money to read Quran for, let's say, for half an hour, for 15 minutes, 20 minutes. You will be ready. And you would think that this is a big reward, but when you understand that I have $1 trillion and I'm giving only 1,000 to you, then that 1,000 is nothing. You understand? So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given us a lot of reward, but if you look at the limitlessness of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, what He can give you, compared to that sawab is nothing. But it is to motivate you to pick up the Quran, to look at the Quran, to read it, so that what? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is speaking to you through it. You have the speech of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in your hands, and the speech of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that is in your hands has an existence that is higher than just the leather and the shiny and the Arabic that you see. Because we said what? Everything that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has created, He has created in different levels of existence, and that each level of existence exists in a universe. You guys don't believe me? What do you see? You just see paper and writing, Just because we see paper and writing, we think that there is nothing else of an existence of Quran that exists. There is. There was a person, a farmer, and he didn't know a word of reading or writing. Like he never went to school. When he would sign with his thumb. There was an Imambargah that he used to visit and sit down there for a little while in the mornings and evenings when he would come and go. And one day, the walls of that became lighted. There was light. And the person was told by beings of light to read. And this person said, I cannot read. I don't know how to read. The beings of light said, no, read. And When this person got up, he had the whole Quran memorized. The whole Quran was memorized, and this person was tested. Ayatollah Projati at his time, and you have tapes. You can, in Iran, you can find tapes that are there in the voice of Musa Karbala. You can Kazim Karbala. You can hear his voice reciting the Quran. Right. If you were to put this in front of him, he was not able to read it the way he was able to read it, because these words did not come in his mind as words, but that light that was around that Husainiya that night. With me? So he wasn't reading with okay, so there is Qaf and then Wav, and then Qaf has a Fatah, and then Wav has a Sukoon, and then Lam has a Dhamma, and then Ha has a Dhamma, so it's Qawluhu. As we read, it wasn't like that. It was light, and through that light, the whole Quran was inside of him, memorized. Right? And there are many different things that I can tell you about that. But the reason why I'm telling you, although we might not be ever able to see the other level of existence that Quran has, but we should know that something like that exists. At one time, just to test him, there's many people who tested him. One person put a piece of paper. I've told you this before, no?
You've told me.
Okay, I've told you. Person put a piece of paper, and in front of him, they said, write. The person that was told to write 2 vowels, but 1 vav with the intention of writing it of the Quran, and 1 vav of regular, just like vav. Vav, you understand?
Chapter?
Right. No, vav like that you have in Arabic, vav? Yeah. Wal asr, right? You've seen that vav. So, when the person wrote these 2 vows, Karbala, he looked at and he said, this one is the vav that he wrote with the intention of Quran. It's like, how do you know? He said, because this vav has the same nur. That was the nur that was written on that Husainiya that I have been able to memorize. How did that vav elevate itself to that level of existence of light that Ara Karbala saw it? It was just the intention of that person when he wrote the vav. Right? So although yes, it is just paper and it is just writing and it's just Arabic, but the intention that is behind it makes it, gives it that level of existence which is not just paper and ink. And when you look at it, it affects you. It affects your body, it affects your soul. There is many different other benefits as well by just looking at the Holy Quran. Right? But in actuality, what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wanted us to do was not just to read it, but to do what? Understand it? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wanted us not just to read it, not just to understand it, not just to ponder on it, not just to go deep in the meanings of it, not just go through the tafasir of it, but to see that Quran how Musa Karbala saw. How he saw it, he wants us to see it. In universities, the Jews and the Christians, they teach Islam. I don't know if you guys have here too. No? You have Christians and Jews teaching Islam or no? And the professors out there? Okay. So can a person who's a non-Muslim learn how to read Quran? I'm just asking. Yes? Yes, you can take classes Arabic. There are many non-Muslims who can read the Quran better than you and I. Right? So a non-Muslim can learn how to read the Quran, right? With proper Arabic and everything, with makharij and with the rules of tajweed and the voice and everything. No? Okay. Can a non-Muslim be able to understand the meaning of it? Of course, if they were to go and learn Arabic and then go through liberal studies of Arabic, would they not be able to understand the meaning of it? Right? I mean, the Qurans are being translated sometimes by people who are not even Muslims, right? Say, After that, are they not able to go through the different tafasirs that are out there and to be able to understand the shan and nuzul of a particular verse, how, when it was revealed and so forth, and what is the explanation of it? Can they not? Yes or no?
Yes.
Yes. Would that elevate them or make them to become a Muslim? Maybe. Maybe. It's possible that some of those people, if they were to do that, in the end they will have the light of Islam inside of their hearts and they will become a Muslim. Right? But some no. Some no, they will just go through those motions and they will never come to the conclusion that they should be a Muslim. One Christian wanted to see the Imam of the time. Okay? Imam of his time was Imam Musa Kazim alayhi salatu wasalam. He didn't know where the Imam was. He wanted to see the Imam because he wanted to go see the king, and he wanted to give a bit of money to the Imam so that he prays for him and that he goes home safely from that king. Okay? This is the plot. So he goes to the city. He doesn't know where the Imam lives. He says, I will let go of my horse or the sawari that he had. I will let go of that and let it go through the city, and whichever house that this animal is going to stop is going to be the Imam's house. Okay? So let's go of the animal, and the animal goes through the city and comes to the house. The slave of Imam comes out and says, Salaam alaikum, and Imam, with his name, knowing his name, is asking you to come inside. He goes inside. There says, do you have that amount of money in your sleeve? We accept that. And Imam said to him, don't worry, the king is not going to have any effect on you. You're going to go home safely. But you're going to die as a Christian. You will die as a Christian, but in your generation there is going to be a Shia of ours. Who is this person? This person has seen miracles to be able to get to the Imam. The person understands that the Imam has miracles. The person knows that the Imam has miracles. The person has seen the Imam perform the miracles. The person knows that he is a saint, he is a person of a high, elevated position to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, who is telling him things that he did not know. And the person says, Christian. So what is it that you need to have, that you'll be able to see the other levels of existence so that you can get closer to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala as Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has intended for His two creation, men and jinn. وَمَا خَلَقْتُ الْجِنَّ وَالْإِنسَ إِلَّا لِيَعْبُدُونَ. That I have not created men or jinn other than for the fact that they should be in submission, they should be in worship. With me? So far? Okay, so this was a preliminary. This was a preliminary on what we spoke about. And the reason why I gave you this preliminary, and just do a little bit of housekeeping because I don't get the chance in the beginning. I have traveled a long way to come in front of you and I have, mashallah, 4 kids, and I have a very young daughter who's almost going to be turning 2 in about 3-4 days. She's going to be turning 2 on the 5th of July. Okay. And I have no reason to come in front of you. If you were to think that I will get money, or I'm here for money, or I'm here for your respect or name or any of that, I don't care. Because all of that is more dear to me. Okay? All of this, my daughter is more dear to me. If you think otherwise, then so it's up to you. I would rather be in front of my 2-year-old daughter for her to call me and for me to listen to her calling me. I'd rather break my bread with my family than you. Like anybody else. I'd rather be for Eid with my family rather than with you. Just like everybody else. For the last 4 years I haven't broken bread with my family for iftar. But where it gets to me is I start wondering, why am I here? When I sit down, I have 2 or 3 people in front of me. As it gets closer to Maghrib time, you show up. I'm here to do a responsibility, and I cannot do my responsibility if I don't have you. And it becomes very difficult to sit down on the minbar of the Prophet and to keep your intention sincere and to do your responsibility. Right? It's unfair and it's injustice. It's not fair, it's injustice, it's zulm. On the Day of Judgment, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will ask. These issues are not, we cannot take these issues lightly. Okay? It's okay, it's no problems. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is watching, is hearing. When you have a commitment, you have a commitment. When there is a masjid that is giving you the opportunity for you to take something, all of these things uphold the responsibility that you and I have, and we have to do that. Otherwise you think that I'm here in front of you to take something from you. I do not care about anything that you have to give me. Right? But I cannot do my responsibility if you're not there. I make the preliminaries. I'm going through different preliminaries for the last 3 days, but I cannot come to a conclusion because half of the preliminaries you haven't heard. So try to make sure that you have the fear of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that motivates you to come here. Not anything else. You should have fear of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala inside of your heart, and I should have fear of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala inside of my heart for me to come here and for you to come here. That is what is required. Not because somebody's invited you, because you have to, go through iftari, or you have to go through namaz, or you don't have anything else to do. None of that. It should be the fear of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Okay? So the preliminaries that we've been mentioning, one is that this body of ours is what? It's just a machine. It's a biological machine that requires fuel just like every other machinery that requires fuel. And then there is a driver, and that driver is who? Is the soul. Okay, now this driver that is the soul is a little bit different than the driver that you have of a Lamborghini or a Ferrari. Okay, because I told you, even if you are 60 years old or 70 years old, whatever body, shape or form that you have, you are a miracle of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Okay, if you're 5 foot something like me, or you are taller, you're wider, you're thinner, you think your nose is too big or too small, your eyes are too big or too small, your ears are too big or too small, you have hair or you have no hair, anything that you think, still you are a miracle of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Because to make you in this shape and form, it is the best shape and form. And He has shaped you. Who's your painter? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. He painted you. When you don't like the painting, What do you think? What are you saying to the painter? What are you saying to the painter? You didn't paint right. You are a painting that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has painted. If you object to your own self, you're objecting to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Right? Now the thing is, there's a little bit difference than a Lamborghini and you driving the Lamborghini. This is kind of like the conclusion part, okay? So just, if you can pay attention, and inshallah I'll finish, and then tomorrow we'll start off from here. The body and the soul has been united in such a way that if your body gets food, your soul feels happy. When the Ferrari, you put fuel in there, Ferrari doesn't feel happy. You don't feel happy. I don't know. You feel happy when you fuel up. I don't think the price of the pumps are that good that you should feel happy, right? You feel obviously sad. But your body and your soul are connected in such a way that if your body gets pain, that pain is translated to your soul. If your body gets comfort, that comfort is translated to your soul. Okay? With me? Your soul is connected to your body so strongly that whatever your body feels, your soul feels. With me? Hawasi Khamsa, the 5 senses that you have, they affect your soul all the time. Like I looked over here, I looked over there. Ulama of akhlaq, they say that just in the span of time that I look at this akh and I look at you, I have changed. I'm not the same person anymore. I was a person, different person, now I'm a different person in the span of me just looking at you. Why? Because all of the environment, everything that I can sense, all of that, all of the thoughts that I have is affecting me and changing me. With me so far? Okay, so on that point, inshallah, we'll continue tomorrow on that point. Once we understand the relationship between your body and your soul, and we understand the different levels of existence that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given to you, you will be able to understand the benefits that Islam has. You'll be able to understand the benefits that Quran has. You'll be able to understand the benefits that fasting has. You will have a frame of reference that you will use to worship Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Man arafa nafsahu faqad arafa rabbahu. Whoever understands his self, understands his Lord. Once you understand your Lord, when you pray your namaz that you're going to pray now, you're not just going to be assuming that He's watching you to that point of conviction. You're not just going to be praying because you don't want to go to hell. You're not just going to be praying because you would like to go to heaven, but you will have Him in front of you. It will be very different. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has intended that for us. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give us the opportunity to submit to Him as He has intended for us to submit. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala forgive our sins in this holy month. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give us the courage to be able to stand against our lowly desires. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give us the courage to be able to stand against the oppressors of the time. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give us the courage to support the oppressed of the time. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala destroy the enemies of Islam. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give relief to all of the Muslims around the world. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala make us from the true friends and followers of the Imam. May he come as soon as possible. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim wal-Asr. Inna al-insana lafi khusr. Illa alladhina amanu wa aminu salihati wa tawassaw bil haqqi wa tawassaw bis sabr.